podcast from the grassroots, connecting people and sharing ideas.
We are back with Arlene.
And this is Grace.
And together we have two guests, very young guests and also very passionate on heritage stuff. We have ASEAN Youth Heritage Leaders, two of them. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Hi.
So
Thank
may you guys may you guys introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Nisa, ASEAN Youth Heritage Leaders from Malaysia.
And I'm Dina, also an ASEAN Youth Heritage Leader from Malaysia.
So both of you are from Malaysia.
Yes. Unfortunately, our other friends from ASEAN countries cannot join us today.
Yep.
Blame them not coming. So, how old are you guys, by the way? Are you still studying?
Yes, I'm 21.
I'm 25, just started with my master's course.
Masters.
So which course are you taking?
I am currently studying Masters in Southeast Asian Studies in University Malaya.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, very ASEAN.
It is very ASEAN. How did you guys get involved with the ASEAN Youth Heritage?
Well, for me, it's actually a coincidence. I was looking for a program for me to join in during the my previous semester break, and I stumbled upon this program, so I applied it, and thank God I got accepted out of thousands of applications.
Is it an organization that is from ASEAN, or is it like something that an initiative of the Malaysian government, or what?
It's related with ASEAN because the base is ASEAN Engage, and ASEAN Engage is a networking with ASEAN University Network, which is under the ASEAN organization.
But then it's also supported by the our Malaysia Youth and Sport Ministry.
Yep.
And
Khairi Jamaluddin?
Yes, Khairi Jamaluddin. Unfortunately, we didn't meet him throughout our program. But the main mover of this program, I believe, is from the UKM, University Kebangsaan Malaysia.
Yeah, that's where ASEAN Engage Secretariat is located at.
So when it comes to the ASEAN Youth Heritage, is it part of the ASEAN Youth Volunteer program?
Yeah, it is under that program, but every year we have different teams. Last year, the inaugural is ASEAN Eco Leaders. So this year the theme is on heritage. Therefore, it's ASEAN Youth Heritage Leaders program.
So this year's team is protecting ASEAN's heritage.
Yes.
What is ASEAN heritage?
Well, ASEAN heritage, I believe, would be comprised of both tangible and intangible cultures of ASEAN people. Is dying out, I believe, due to the globalization, and it's necessary for us, especially the youth, to protect it.
Yeah. So
So in which aspect that it is dying out?
Both intangible and tangible culture. I mean, in terms of buildings, monuments, that we would place it under the tangible culture.
What about the intangible ones?
Intangible, usually culture like dancing,
languages,
trades, traditional trades.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are the things that like you already focused on the heritage itself for this year?
Yeah.
Yes. What are the other approach that you want to develop in terms of this youth heritage?
Basically for this program, we hope that we could carry out our own heritage projects in our own respective countries. So all of the heritage leaders have their own proposed project. So through this program, we are being trained on how to carry out our project, how to approach stakeholders. So all of us have different approach. Some of our friends wanted to preserve their own language, and some of them wanted to preserve their own tourist sites. So it's very diverse. Our approach depends on our own interests.
So you said it's a diverse. So you'll be targeting in the ASEAN countries as well, right? Including Malaysia?
Yes. All 10 ASEAN countries.
10 ASEAN countries. So you have all different departments, also groups that will focus on the different countries, or it's just the overall?
Basically, the participants were made up of 10 different ASEAN countries. So it is up to all these participants where they want to focus their preservation program on. But most of them would usually focus on their own country.
Yeah. But so this is a platform for us to exchange ideas, because we are youth and we have many interactive and very innovative ideas. So this is like a place where we exchange ideas, we maybe support our friends, and surprisingly, I mean not surprisingly, but because of this program, some of the youth from their respective countries decided to collaborate, because previously they came with their own individual project. But once they meet up there, so they have like a common point, they say, why not we collaborate together and make our new project for our respective countries.
So what are the projects that you are involving right now?
Well, for me, I'm planning to make adaptive reuse of abandoned old buildings in around Kuala Lumpur area. How about you, Dina?
And for me, I'm interested to not really preserve, but create awareness of our historical buildings together with our heritage food. Like Penang and Melaka, we have our heritage buildings and food. So I want to combine to do a...
So you're from Penang?
No. I'm from KL, but I want to do it in KL, like a heritage foodie tour. Yeah.
Let's dwell into your particular project, because it seems like it's very, very, very unique in a way. So you want to preserve historical buildings that are run down, isn't it?
It doesn't have to be historical in some sense, because throughout my research, when I wanted to propose this project, I found out only certain buildings that reach at certain age could be considered as historical and could be preserved. So I decided to look for another alternative rather than preserving it. That's why I decided to propose this building to be cleaned up and then to be marketed to business owners. So rather than demolish the buildings and build a new one, why don't we integrate the building with new modern aspects? Like for instance, we can see a lot of old buildings being turned into small hotels, and it's actually quite nice. It has its own identity in it, right? Yeah.
So you said developing and then also to bring out the new ideas from the abandoned buildings, right? You said.
Yes, it's in one way, yeah. It's basically to adapt the building to current needs.
And what about you?
As for me, I'm interested at the area around Jalan Tukar Brahman, Dataran Merdeka, and coincidentally, there is a free KL heritage tour running by the KL Gallery, which is under the DBKL. So I thought of using that tour together with heritage foods around the route, because I noticed when they build, like according to her project, when they build new buildings, these previous food sellers have to move out because of the increase in rent. So why not we help them by attracting tourists to our local food attractions, and so that people will know not just the food, but they know the history behind these buildings.
If there's, this is just a trivial question. Like if there's one item of Malaysian food that you think should preserve by all means, what would it be?
I think nasi lemak. That's my favorite.
That's Malaysian identity, right? So of course.
Yeah. What about you?
You mean the food?
Yeah, the food.
Oh God. Nasi lemak as well, I guess.
I think there are too many Malaysian foods
Yes,
that I can choose from.
You cannot think right now.
But going back to your question, right? Which area are you said in Kuala Lumpur, right? But which area particularly are you targeting on?
Well, there is this one building at Jalan Raja Chulan that I'm really interested on, but I still haven't checked about the ownership and whether the
Is it that row of abandoned
Yes,
buildings?
yes, it's very nice.
Whenever we pass by there, we always see that those row of abandoned buildings, but nothing has been done about it, right? And it's a prime area.
Yeah, as far as I know, nothing's been done about it. But then I need to check again with the local authorities, because there was this one building at the area Lebuh Pasar, Medan Pasar Besar, somewhere near the Dataran Merdeka. Actually, that was one of my targeted building, but then I found out that the government already has future plans for it. So I need to keep
future
updating.
plans as in demolishing it, or
I'm not sure about it, because I saw a signboard saying that it's going to be under some sort of new project over
Development.
there. Yeah, development project. So I'm not sure about it. I need to check with many stakeholders on this.
So it's a project on its own, you know. You have a question, guys?
No, I have a question, and to continue that project. Once you find that particular location that you want to work on, then what's the next step after that?
Well, first I'm planning to look for the ownership. aspects, whether there's any owner on it. Maybe I'm going to approach for the land department perhaps, and then I'm going to work with the National Heritage Department to have some sort of training and how we can not modernize it, adapt it to current use, and then maybe I will find any any property firm to market it. But that's, I think, the difficult part. Because I'm not sure whether I need to restore the building first before buying the buyers, or find the buyers before in order to get money to restore the buildings.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys are thinking like adults now. Not youth leaders anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Another area I want to highlight is about heritage tourism, which is stated in the proposal that you sent to us. What is heritage tourism?
Well, from my understanding, it's basically a tourism program that integrates heritage aspect in it. It's basically to introduce the tourists about heritage. But
so let's say it's a tour in KL.
Yep.
What would it be differently if it's a heritage tourism rather than a normal sort of
Like a heritage
going
tourism,
around tourism?
because we are so used of touring around KL, we just see sights, but the content is not there. It's not very strong. So we will touch on what is the history of those buildings, and at the same time, let's say if we go to like Qairunnisa, the craft center, we learn about the intangible heritage, our own national crafts. So for example, what we experienced in our program, we went to our project sites were located at Kuala Lumpur and also in Melaka. So in Kuala Lumpur, most of the heritage tourism that we experienced is tangible on buildings, whereas in Melaka we focus on intangible heritage tourism because we experience of the craftsmanship. We learn how to make bullock cart. Like for me, I learned wood carving and Chinese paper cutting. So heritage tourism basically focuses on tangible and intangible heritage that is located in Malaysia.
So instead of eating chapati in brick fields,
yeah.
you actually learn about the building
Yeah,
itself rather than
yeah.
just eating.
I just
just
want to
enjoying.
add to her points. It's not learning about the buildings. It's basically learning about the society that stays around it, the problems that they face.
Yeah.
So it's not just about buildings, physical buildings,
Yes.
and also like what are the available activities and avenues there, but it's also about the society there, the
Yeah.
problems that they face.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though it's negative, so
Yes.
you are trying to expose it to other people.
Yeah, because we also need to engage with the community, because to instill awareness that they have the potential of this tourism industry, that how they can move forward to promote and to overcome the obstacles that they currently face.
So what are the obstacles that they have been facing, if you are
Like,
aware of?
For me, my group were assigned for Petaling Street. So what I experienced in Petaling Street, not many locals would go to Petaling Street because we know it's very touristy area. It's just a lot of fake goods, right? Whereas there are many interesting food places, interesting Indian temples, Buddhist temple for us to visit, because there are also many interesting old buildings located there, but because of MRT development, they had to close down their shop. And
So you are against with the MRT development?
It's quite hard to see, because if MRT can accommodate rather than try to find a much more middle approach solution rather than asking them to
So
close down.
would you in one of your projects you
Yeah.
want to meet the MRT developers to somehow propose to them perhaps there's a better way of developing the city rather than demolish everything and make way for modernity?
But because when I went to my project site in Petaling Street, it's already being closed down. It's already our facilitator Angie from a PhD student from UM, who is responsible of our program, said that last year they had this farewell for all these shop owners in Petaling Street, because most of the shop, the old hotel, the old Chinese theatre had to close down. So it's just they're focusing mainly on the tourist attraction in Petaling Street, the night market. not the surrounding buildings.
But it is pretty evident that that particular street is very highlighted spot for tourists to come in, right?
Yeah.
But only for fake goods and other sort
whereas
of
there are more to
touristy
Petaling
activities.
Street than those fake goods. So when we went there, we are being exposed. Our mindset are being changed that, okay, now I know Petaling Street is not just for fake goods. There are interesting food, especially Chinese food. There are, we also collaborated with Rakan Jelajah Warisan, where they organize food tours for Chinese food attractions in Petaling Street.
And this thing actually does not only happen at Petaling Street. When we were at Melaka, because this program was conducted in two places, one in Kuala Lumpur and the other one is Melaka, I took the opportunity to walk alone at the Jonker Street. But at one time, I didn't walk to the usual attraction of Jonker Street, which is the alley that sells many goods and where hawkers sell stuff. I decided to take another route, another alley over there, and there were many old architectures, many delicate designs of Baba Nyonya community that if you don't look around carefully, you would tend to miss it. Yeah.
So those places were not that as highlighted as the one is really famous.
Yeah.
And for in reality, all these interesting building with intricate details should be highlighted for tourists to admire and to understand as well.
I agree, because in Melaka it's very interesting because we have combinations of many types of architectures, like Dutch architectures and Baba Nyonya architectures. So when in our program we are being trained to look for these not highlighted features of Melaka.
Do you have plans in collaborating with other NGOs to somehow highlight these issues, regarding on preserving the heritage buildings?
So far, no. But since you're mentioning it right now, so I guess we should. Another, I have to add, besides the adaptive reuse of the old buildings, another program that I'm thinking about is to highlight the cancelled excavation sites at Melaka, because in one of our tours at the Melaka, we worked together with got a tour from the National Heritage Department over there, and then the tour guides, the tour from that department told me that some of these areas were actually used to be under excavation projects. But then due to insufficient support from the local authorities, those excavation sites have to be basically to be cancelled. So it's a very pity. I mean, all remains of Melaka forts were found to be on these excavation sites. But since they were not seen to be bring many benefits, so they have to cancel it.
They focus on development too much. From the tour guides were archaeologists, so he told me that because of the development, some of the excavation sites had to be abandoned because they focus on what we get out of this excavation. They don't see the importance of this excavation project, so they just proceed with the development project.
So this kind of issues will be there as long as the local authorities, the focus is there to develop the certain areas. So how can you come about to balance these issues? Because you said one of the example you mentioned was in the Petaling Street because of MRT constructions.
In this program, we learn how to we don't really carry out projects, but we will create our own. From our research, we create our own solutions. So that once we had to create a report for our final project. So this report will be given to our governments and stakeholders from the AYVP Secretariat, ASEAN Secretariat. So what we came out is to balance development and heritage conservation. Like we say, we try to create tours that incorporate heritage elements, because people just go to Melaka just to see those buildings, but they don't know the importance of it. So from our own experience, we had to create the project, and we thought of volunteerism. Maybe we try to create a heritage conservation volunteer project, which is a tourism attraction for those who are interested to be a volunteer at this excavation site. So when these people are interested, so they will know, okay, there's a need for this market.
I have to ask you a very hard question, unfortunately. I already made my promise. So what's your view on the ASEAN Integration 2015?
Well, hopefully it will be reality. I think okay, to be honest, it will be reality on paper, but it still takes time for people to accept the idea of ASEAN. In Malaysia, actually,
The awareness is not...
no.
It's almost
pretty-
none, isn't it?
Very
Almost
low.
none.
Very low. When I went to Bangkok, I did my internship in Bangkok. Even at the school, they had a flagpole, ASEAN flagpole, and they had to sing ASEAN song, if I'm not mistaken, from my Thai friends. So Thailand is more, the awareness is more apparent compared to Malaysia.
So they
in my
inculcate
opinion.
it as part of their education and culture.
Yeah, Malaysia also did incorporate this ASEAN awareness, but
Really?
yeah, one of
I
our-
wasn't aware of that.
In which aspect?
There's a new subject like civic or something, because I cannot say that much because I haven't done a proper research on that. But in my opinion, I think just as a very general outlook, I see Thai have more ASEAN books, like kids approach, which is like comic, which caught my attention. But I haven't seen that in KL, any bookstores in KL.
Yeah. The only time when I see things about us related to ASEAN are when we have ASEAN summit, where our prime minister go to some ASEAN countries to shake
the
hands.
ASEAN Games.
Huh?
Yeah, the ASEAN
Yeah,
Games.
the ASEAN.
So that's where us,
Very
as
few
youth,
avenues.
have
Yes.
to really, there is the objective for us to really disseminate this ASEAN awareness.
Yes, beside heritage preservation and volunteerism, we have to instill a sense of certain aspect of
feeling
ASEAN
ASEAN.
identity on our projects as well.
So what is the youth aspiration for ASEAN? I guess in this context, Malaysian youth aspiration, what do you aspire them for ASEAN?
Well,
And especially next year, Malaysia
Yes.
itself will become the chairman of ASEAN. So as being part of ASEAN youth, what's your view and what do you
You are
expect?
the very privileged few that
Yeah.
actually have awareness on ASEAN.
In my opinion, is to feel the ASEAN pride that we usually look to the West, but whereas we have all these resources, our own attraction, our own strengths, that we have to look inward. And if I'm privileged to join this program, and I met a lot of very inspiring ASEAN youths. And okay, even if you don't have the opportunity to join such program, you can reach out through social media. You can ask them like, what is it like to be an ASEAN youth in your opinion? You just ask this sort of questions, and you have to research and be aware. I think it's the awareness that whether you want to feel ASEAN or not, whether you want to be proud of this ASEAN identity that we are looking forward to.
yes, I totally agree with Dina. I also want to add that besides all the things that she says, I wish to see Malaysian youth to feel one with the ASEAN identity, ASEAN concept, and to realize that each of us have its own specialty and weaknesses, and we need to work together in order to
Move forward.
move forward,
yeah.
not to be too Western centric.
Yeah.
But we also to bear in mind that doesn't mean when we open our hearts to ASEAN, that means we dilute our patriotic sense of.
In fact, it enhances.
Yes.
it enhances.
Yeah.
Because during our project, we went for school engagement at Malacca High School, and not many of the students we approached Form 1 and Form 2 students, and we wanted to know how well they are aware of ASEAN. They know on the surface, but so our mission there is to when our friends interact with them, we tell about what our background is, so they think, we're not that different, even though we're so sort of not familiar with the ASEAN concept. So once this kind of projects being integrated with school engagement, so this we are triggering the students to know more about ASEAN. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are at the end of our show today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, both of you, for
Thank you
sharing
for
your
having
views.
us.
Thank you.
It was really nice to have you younger to talk about the ASEAN youth. Yeah, definitely was very impressive. Yeah.